Alright, so this is going to be completely different than what I obviously do recording Elden Ring, but this is something that's always been in my mind, and I wanted to share with you guys, or basically share with the whole Dark Souls, Elden Ring, Sekiro, Bloodborne, the whole community of us who play From Software games. Now we all know that next year we got ourselves a well, I don't know if we can call it a continuation, it is a standalone. So basically Elden Ring Nightreign. And from the magnificent trailer that we saw, we've also seen that there's a lot of bosses that are returning from the other Souls games. Namely, see what I did there, having the return of the Nameless King and the giant spider from Dark Souls 2. And we've also seen that Elden Ring Nightreign is gonna be a different thing than what we're used to when it comes to the game itself. Focusing more on co-op, basically the focus on 3-player adventure with you and your friends instead of like going out on your own. Sure, you can still go out and play this game on your own, but I believe that the From Software team wants to focus more on the online aspect rather than the solo aspect. But there's something that's always been bugging me. Ever since I've seen Elden Ring Nightreign trailer and read so many articles about and stuff, like, what are the other bosses that are you going to bring back from the other Soulsborne games? Now, I want to specify. I hope to see like some bosses from Bloodborne and specifically Sekiro. Sekiro is one of my all-time favorite games, but I don't think that we'll be seeing them to return. I have high hopes that we'll see some bosses from there. At least one or two, but because of some issues related to companies, we may not get some bosses. But there's always hope because some of the mechanics from Bloodborne and even Sekiro are already in Nightreign, so there is hope that we might see some bosses. Maybe I'm wrong here, but with everything going around, I don't know, maybe I just hope. Anyway, I wanted to make this video to discuss something with you guys. About the bosses that we might see returning on Elden Ring Nightreign from the other Souls games. Specifically like Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. I'm sorry to say I won't be mentioning Demon Souls if we might see any bosses from Demon Souls, because I haven't played it yet, so write down in the comments if you think that we might see a Demon Souls boss, and what are the bosses from Demon Souls that you want or think they're going to bring to Elden Ring Nightreign, if they do. But here's why I wanted to make this video. Now we all know that so many of us have already played the Soulsborne series, basically all of the games, or some of us who are still new, still are playing these games to catch up. But I wanted to see and think, what are the other bosses that they might bring back to Elden Ring Nightreign? Now, as a From Software fan myself, there's a lot of bosses, a lot that I love, and I want to see them and fight them again with the Elden Ring mechanics, or with my buddies, or my brothers, basically you guys, the fans of From Software, to just fight those challenging, incredible bosses again with you in like a 3-on-1 scenario. But I wanted to take this time to just think, like, there's going to be limited options. They're going to choose specific bosses, and I wanted to take it from a different approach, not as someone who loves these bosses, but from an approach from someone who's like some sort of a developer, or someone who works at development companies, trying to think like what we have to choose bosses specifically with the mechanics we offer. And what do I mean by that? I'm within this video, I'm gonna be looking into the Souls games, all of them, basically all the From Software games, and try to think and share with you guys the bosses that I think they're going to make a return within Elden Ring Nightreign, and reasons, not because I love these bosses, but because I think mechanically and lore-wise they can actually work within Elden Ring Nightreign. Now, we all know, forgive me for mentioning this again, that Elden Ring Nightreign is gonna focus more on 3 players. So specifically when going up against bosses, it's gonna be 3 against 1. And sad for me to say, but a lot of bosses in the old From Software games like Dark Souls, Demon Souls, basically all of them, do not go well, basically I don't mean like do not go well, but will be very, very easy, because when we have like a situation of 3 against 1. And of course, believe me when I say, but there's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna go with a specific strategy when going up against bosses, by having 2 players focusing on strength, or let's say one with a big build with a giant hammer or a giant axe, one with like a quick sword, like a Sekiro, with the Sekiro style, with the samurai we saw in the trailer who can parry or whatever, or just a normal long sword, and the third probably gonna be a mage. And we all know that mages, please forgive me, I'm not disrespecting any player here, you can play the game however you want, enjoy it however you want, but the mages have the biggest advantage when it comes to fighting bosses, since they can fight in a long range term, avoiding most of the boss's attacks. This is something coming from my perspective. Maybe I'm wrong here, but this is what I see. So when having 3 players, the best strategy is of course going to be a big man, a quick guy, and of course the long range man who's just gonna be shooting magic from afar. And the strategy is of course fight the boss and keep the mage guy safe, so you can just unveil on him with all his magic. Maybe I'm wrong here, but this is what I see that a lot of people are probably gonna do. Is it gonna be fun? Maybe, but is it gonna make the challenge easier? I think so. So with this strategy, and of course probably other strategy that people are going to implement, it's going to make a lot of bosses, even ones coming from these Souls games, very, very easy. Which is why I think that the developers are going to be picking specific bosses who are going to give 3 people a difficult challenge, as well as people who pick mages or any other kinds of build or other kind of strategies. So I'm trying to pick, I'm gonna be suggesting and sharing with you guys the bosses that I think we'll be seeing, mainly because they work when it comes to lore, and second, they're gonna give people a difficult challenge. Even though it's 1 against 3, or it could be a different number, it's going to give people challenge. So I'll be going around the Souls games like Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, and Sekiro, and sharing with you guys the bosses that I think we'll be seeing return in Elden Nightreign. Now of course I'm gonna be picking up randomly like 3 from Dark Souls 1, 2, or anything, but these are ones that I think, maybe they're not gonna be there, but I think we might be seeing them in Elden Nightreign. Alright, let's start off with everybody's favorite, and of course the greatest game of all time. It's won this award, which is Dark Souls, the one that started it all to many of us, the suffering. Alright, so for Dark Souls, there are 3 bosses that I think are going to perfectly work in Elden Nightreign. One, that I think it fits the lore, and of course is gonna offer a challenge. 2, I think it's perfect for the mechanics that Nightreign is going to focus on, which is like the focus on 3 players. And 3, this is something probably, it's very, very, very hard it's going to happen, but if it does, it's going to break the fucking world, bro. Alright, so let me start out. The first boss that I picked that I think is going to return in Elden Nightreign is Manus, Father of the Abyss. Now we all know that this is basically the ultimate challenge in Dark Souls 1. He's very, very hard, and I think why I picked him, because I think he works lore wise. Now I am not way too much into the lore, but I do know that in Elden Nightreign, after like surviving 2 nights and you manage to make to the end of the 3rd night, you're going to fight like a giant big mega boss who is a Night Lord. And specifically in the From Software games and From Software lore, anything related to night is basically close to related to the Abyss, Lord of the Abyss, Lord of the Night, something like that. And I think that Manus, Father of the Abyss, works as a Night Lord, because he's already like a Lord of the Abyss, and you fight him in a cave completely covered in night and dark and everything like that. Again, I'm sorry, it's just lore-wise, I'm completely stupid. I don't know anything. But I believe he fits well when it comes to like the lore within Elden Nightreign, and the idea of like fighting a Night Lord, someone who's Lord of Darkness, Lord of the Abyss, something like that. We all know the Abyss is something related to darkness and all. And when it comes to like mechanically, I believe like a lot of people who fought Manus, Father of the Abyss, had a difficult challenge. Even me, I believe he's got like an incredible combo with his big hand, like a 4 or 5 hit combo. That's very difficult. And of course, it is a grab, I believe. So if you grab someone, just kiss your ass goodbye. Of course, he also has like long range attack with his stick and some magical attacks to keep anybody who's far away from him and shooting, to keep him like busy. I believe like he has like a let's say an all-rounder, like he shoots black key blasts that cover the player, where you have to use like a golden emblem in order to avoid it. This time around, I believe if they managed to bring him back in Elden Nightreign, you don't have that pendant, so you have to perfectly roll it or block it with a magical shield, something like that. I don't know exactly. It's been quite long since I played Dark Souls 1. But I believe it can work when it comes to like 1 against 3. Even if someone is using a mage build, he can, like, I believe Manisk will use that spell against him. He'll be like surrounded by complete black aura or all the black key blasts that he's going to throw, so that's going to be very dangerous for him. And of course, it's gonna have like a very strong health bar, since he is like a Night Lord. So when it comes to like 3 against 1, Menace of the Abyss, I believe, works absolutely well, and it's gonna be a difficult challenge. Even people who haven't played Dark Souls 1, trust me, look him up. He is very hard. Now, moving to my second pick from Dark Souls, which is, now hear me out here, this one I believe works very beautifully mechanically, which is the Four Kings. Now we all know, basically the people who have played Dark Souls, that the Four Kings, this boss fight, start off by first you facing one of the kings or whatever, and you more damage you deal, he starts to like, the other king starts to appear. This time in Elden Nightreign, I think it's gonna go a little bit differently. You're gonna start off, all 3 of you first fighting off one king. Once you defeat him, then starts the second phase where basically 3 kings appear. Here the strategy is just gonna be simple. We're going to split up, and each player has to take care of a fight like one of the 4 kings by himself. And here, the mage one is going to have a very difficult challenge, because if I believe correctly, the 4 kings is better off when you're like close, basically like a close-up combat. So the mage guy will probably have a much difficult challenge here, because I know that a lot of mage builds require you like to sacrifice powering up your vigor or your health to power up your intelligence or faith in order to basically use some spells. So it's gonna be a difficult challenge, because even if you roll, if you get hit, you're gonna take on some good damage, and the other players are gonna be busy with their own kings that they are fighting, and if one player falls, it's gonna be very challenging to get him back up, because one of the 4 kings who defeated a player is going to focus on another one, and you already got one on your hand. And of course, unlike this, the Elden Nightreign 4 king boss fights, it's not gonna be similar to how it is in Dark Souls. This time around, each king has his own health bar instead of all sharing the same, you know. So that way I see it. Again, I see it mechanically, it fits so well, Elden Nightreign, and the focus on like the co-op mode, basically 3 players, and lore-wise too, it works. Like literally, you fight the 4 kings in the abyss, in darkness, where you see nothing, bro. So I believe it works so well in Elden Nightreign. Now, will we see the 4 kings return? I highly doubt it, because the mechanic that I literally mentioned is already shown within the trailer, because the Cerberus that you fight, I believe like the first phase you're gonna fight him like a huge Cerberus dog, 3-headed, and then like when you deal with him like half health, he's gonna split into 3, so each player has to deal with a dog. So it's already been implemented, but will we see the 4 kings? I don't know, maybe yes, maybe no. But the question is, do the 4 kings work mechanically in Elden Nightreign? I say yes, and they fit so beautifully well in Elden Nightreign, and they also fit as a Night Lord. Now, for the third one. Now, you're probably wondering, of course, he's going to pick Ornstein and Smo. They are the iconic bosses in Dark Souls 1. My friend, you're wrong. My final pick for Dark Souls 1 is something that's out of your mind. Now imagine this. What if we get a boss where we fight Prime, Artorias, and Sif the wolf together, bro. That will be nuts. Now, will that happen? I don't know, honestly, bro. Elden Ring, Nightreign is something nobody expected, and they're just going crazy with that. I never expected I'll be getting whooped by the Nameless King again. So, this is just something that came out of my imagination, but think about it. Like having to face Nightreign with Seth, his friend, like the wolf, of course, in his giant form. That'll be so beautifully well and all. And I believe that they can work as a boss in the second night, trying to defeat you in order not to reach the third night to fight the Night Lord. Basically, like lore-wise, they are trying to stop the players from going through the abyss and fighting one of the Lord Knights and stuff. So lore-wise, it can work. Mechanically too, it can also work. We all know that within the boss fight of Nightreign, well, basically within Dark Souls, the more Nightreign gets consumed by the abyss, the stronger he becomes. But in Elden Ring, Nightreign, we can change that mechanic a little bit. The more damage you deal to Nightreign, the stronger he becomes. So he becomes like a heavy hitter when he's like, let's say, have like 10% of his health left or 20%. And of course, have that wolf Sif going crazy on the other players too. Like we have like a little bit of similar boss fight like this in Dark Souls 3 DLC, like the one and the ice DLC. I really forgot the name. Where you fight like a normal NPC and a giant wolf swoops in when as the second phase. So I believe it can work. Or like the moveset for Sif. But bro, think about it. What if like Nightreign gets in and Sif and starts riding him? Ooh, bro, that'll be so sick. Now, of course, this is a suggestion coming from me from like literally left field. Do I think it's going to happen? No. Do I think it will surprise a lot of people if it happens? Yes. Do I think mechanically works? Yes. It will be a difficult challenge to a lot of people. Plus, dealing with two guys, a big enemy who moves fast, and of course, Nightreign, a knight who is more preferably better when you're facing them one-on-one more than two. Plus, Nightreign has a lot of attacks that cover like mid-range and of course close-up, and he's got like the guts jump. That will really, imagine, bro, think about it. Imagine if a player is like a mage guy trying to throw magic and Nightreign literally is in front of you and then he jumps and immediately lands on the mage guy. Bro, I can't wait. Now, to continue on, do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. I believe it's not going to, but if they do, this is something that's going to break the internet. So, that is it from me. The bosses that I think is going to make a return in Elden Ring Nightreign. Now, you're probably wondering, what about Executioner Smo and Dragon Slayer? Honestly, I don't think they'll work in Elden Ring Nightreign. I believe like 3 against 2, yes, it is a challenge, but it'll probably get destroyed by the players. Smo is a slow, heavy attacker, and the Dragon Slayer is a quick one, yeah, but here it's 3 against 1. And Elden Ring is a lot faster in terms of gameplay and a feel more than Dark Souls 1. I replayed Dark Souls 1 recently. Bro, it feels different, bro. But yeah, even like I played Dark Souls 1 again, like a lot of experienced players are probably going to wreck them, bro. Believe me, they are not as hard as a lot of people think, because we still remember them as a first-time players of Dark Souls 1. Believe me, if you're someone who played all these Souls games, it's been a while since you played Dark Souls 1, go back and play Dark Souls 1. You'll probably think of them as the ultimate challenge. Trust me when I tell you, you're gonna beat them at your second, third try, no sweat, because you already know the moves, you already know the strategies, you basically know the ways of the FromSoft, if you get me. So I don't think they're going to come back. There's a high chance that they will, but I'm not feeling it. It's probably gonna be more easier to a lot of, even if they do, it's probably gonna be like a night 1 boss or night 2, but not as a night lord. Alright, now I'm going to jump into Dark Souls 2. A lot of people, I'm just kidding, everybody's favorite Dark Souls game, brother. Dark Souls 2 is the best game ever made. Alright. Which bosses that I pick from Dark Souls 2 that I think will work, again, mechanically and perhaps lore-wise. Okay, now we all know that from Dark Souls 2, we've already got a confirmed returning boss, which is the spider. And honestly, mechanically wise, with of course some little retouches, it can work. Like the spider, I believe, like has two heads, one at the back, one at the front. So this time around he'll have like 2 health bars. One player has to deal with the head in front, one player has to deal with the head in the back, and you have to kill take out both heads at the same time. If you take out one head while the other one's still alive, then the other head will probably resurrect or return to half HP or something, you know. And of course, I believe like in Dark Souls 2, when you fight the spider, there's a lot of spiders covered in the area, so the third player has to like fight the other enemy spiders around the area to keep them from distracting the other 2 players who are fighting the boss. So mechanically it works, and I really like that, and I'm excited to see the spider again. But I really hope that they add a lot of more moves and they make him a little bit faster, because he is very slow in Dark Souls 2. But what about the other bosses? Now, as much as I love a lot of bosses in Dark Souls 2, I don't think they can work, because trust me when I say a lot of bosses in Dark Souls 2 are very, very easy. But I do want to say this to a lot of people who love this guy. Now, personally, I'm not a huge fan of this guy. I didn't have a lot of trouble with him, and I like his design and simplicity, but as a boss fight, I found him very easy, which is Sir Alone. Now, Sir Alone, I hope I pronounced his name right, by the way, I'm fucking butchering it, I don't think works in a basis of like 1 against 3, but if someone is playing the game on his own and like playing it with the Sekiro style, the one that showed in the video, like in a parry mode, woo, that'll be so fucking sick. Because Sir Alone is some sort of like a samurai. He uses, I believe, a samurai weapon like the giant katana, and against a build like that focuses more on the Sekiro style, like parry, it'll be so fucking sick. I see him working as like a one-on-one, but 1 against 3, I believe it's gonna be very easy. So you might be wondering, okay, Kamizoid, Mr. Big Talk here, what are the bosses from Dark Souls 3 that you think are going to return, or you want to see them back, or basically you think mechanically work? I'm just talking nonchalant in this video. I don't have a script or anything. I just want to discuss with you guys and share with you my thoughts on the bosses from Elden and Nightreign. Right, with that out of the way, think of this as like a fucking commercial break or whatever. If an ad pops up, fuck that shit. Anyway, oh my god. I almost choked myself. What the fuck? Whew. Okay. Okay. Back to the discussion. Now, hear me out on this. There is one boss that I think works perfectly in Elden and Nightreign and will give the players an absolute good challenge. Now, hear me out on this. Okay, perhaps. Oh no, I got his name. For a second, I forgot his name, and then some SpongeBob in my brain fucking grabbed it. Now, hear me out. The Ivory King. This guy would work so well in Elden and Nightreign. Now, hear me out. You might be wondering, the Ivory King? That guy is easy. The only difficulty is before you reach him, when you have to fight his enemies. True. Now, for those who haven't played Dark Souls 2, the Ivory King's boss fight is a little different than what you expect. First off, you have to like explore the area in order to recruit some knights who are going to help you out in the fight. Because before you fight the Ivory King, first you have to fight off some of his soldiers, and of course the allies that you recruited are going to sacrifice themselves to block the doors, so that way the Ivory King's allies, or basically the enemies, will stop appearing, so you can have your showdown with the Ivory King one-on-one. But in Elden and Nightreign, it's going to work differently, because your allies are real people, your friends, your brothers. I don't know, I was gonna say no, I'm not gonna say that word. Anyway, so your allies are gonna be your friends. This time around, it's going to be a 3-on-5 boss fight. You and your allies are gonna be fighting the Ivory King and 4 of his knights. But here's the twist. The enemies, which are the knights helping the Ivory Kings, will keep appearing infinitely, so they never stop appearing, unlike within the Dark Souls 2, where the allies that you have will sacrifice themselves in order to stop. Here, they don't. And the reason why I say is because there is a difference when you have an AI ally then when you have a true friend who also bleeds sweat and blood when he's fucking fighting a boss. So here is going to be 3-on-5 Ivory King with four knights. Of course, each knight's having a different basically build or something like that. One's probably gonna focus more on magic, one's gonna have a heavy weapon, one's gonna have a shield and sword, and the other's probably gonna have a hammer or an axe, something similar to what they are in Dark Souls 2. And you guys, of course, however you choose the build, to have one mage, to have one heavy or whatever. So the strategy here, 2 players have to focus on the enemies and 1 player have to focus solely on the Ivory King. 2 players have to face off against the enemy AI to keep them away from the player who is facing against the boss. Even if the player who's going up against the boss has the hard time, gets absolutely wrecked, he can go back and switch it up with one of his friends, so his friends will start going up against the boss one-on-one, the Ivory King of course, and the other one who got absolutely wrecked by the boss goes and fights the enemies. And again, the enemies keep reappearing over and over and over infinitely. The only way to win is to defeat the boss. And if we think, nah, the strategy is all 3 of us pull up against the boss, JoJo style, similar to how JoJo Part 5 when 3 of them beating up an innocent man, you know the meme, and we'll probably wreck them. Believe me, buddy, the enemy AI will not let you do that. They will keep on your asses to keep you away from the boss. And the boss himself, the Ivory King, even though he's not very hard, he does have a long and mid-range attack, so he can also attack all 3 of you. And even if you tell me like, well, what about the mage guy? What about if you have a mage? That mage guy is probably gonna be busy finding a way to attack, surviving the onslaught of the enemy AI running towards him, you know? So the best strategy is going to be 2 players focusing on the enemy AI, like 1 against 2, and then the main boy, the one who chooses, or you guys choose, who's going up against the boss. If he gets absolutely whooped, it's time for a switch up. Alright buddy, you take him on, I'll take on the enemies and try to heal and recuperate myself, you know, something like that. Until you defeat the Ivory King. You defeat the Ivory King, the enemies die, and you claim victory. I believe mechanically this will work so beautifully well. It will be an absolutely difficult challenge to a lot of people because it's gonna be chaos, brother. It's gonna be chaos out there. You keeping enemies away from you, your own friends can even fuck you up. If you're not even careful. So I believe mechanically having the Ivory King return, and of course having you face him with having the Ivory King plus some 4 of his knights against 3 people, it will work so beautifully, and I believe it will be an epic boss fight. And does he work as a Night Lord? Yes, he's basically like, I believe, the King of Chaos in Dark Souls 2. I don't have like a giant idea in terms of lore, but I think he will work so well as a Night Lord. Will I see him return? I doubt it, but if it does, and if it does come like this, trust me when I say it will be one of the best times that you and your friend have, and it will be an absolute challenge to you and your friends too. I really want to hear from you guys what you think about my idea of seeing the Ivory King return in a boss fight like 5 against 3. I really want to hear from you guys if you think it works, or if you're going to see like the Ivory King return from Dark Souls 2. Now honestly, I've been like thinking about other bosses from Dark Souls 2, but I really don't see any others returning. There is another boss that's like been in my mind, and I think he could work, and we can see him again, the Dark Lurker. And I think like mechanically he can work, since like once you like take out half his health, his second phase is basically he does like a shadow clone jutsu, so he gets up one of his other, so basically he clones himself and starts fighting. And this time around for like an Elden Nightreign, he basically does like 2 clones, so each player has to fight one of the Dark Lurkers on his own, and in order to deal damage to the boss, you have to focus on the main one. So the other ones like have their own health bar or whatever, so you have to like, best strategy I think, take out the clones, and then all 3 of you focus on the main boss. Would he be easy? Yeah, I believe like in Dark Souls 2, the Dark Lurker is not very difficult, and bringing him back in Elden Nightreign, he can fit mechanically, but he'll still be an easy challenge. Other bosses in Dark Souls 2, there isn't a lot that work, honestly. Even like the dragon Sin will be probably very easy. Like the only thing difficult about that dragon is basically his fire. Like he has like toxic fire. That shit is dangerous, bro. Other than that, he's pretty much very easy. He's not very difficult to deal with. Nashandra's sister. Nashandra is a pathetic fucking boss. I'm talking about her sister, who summons like skeletons or summons another boss. Also easy, like it's not very challenging. And of course, my love, my man, my bro, the Fume Knight. As much as I want to see him again, he'll probably be very easy when it comes to like 3-on-1, so I don't think it will work. I love the Fume Knight, I want to see him again. Okay, now we move to Dark Souls 3, one of the best games considered by a lot of people. Now, honestly, in Dark Souls 3, there's only one boss that I think they can bring back, and there's something that I'm gonna add up that's probably gonna piss off some few people. But if you can convince me that they can bring back this boss, I really want to read your comment or read your thoughts. So I'll start off with the boss that I think we're probably going to see return or probably gonna bring back, which is of course the one, the only, the ultimate Dark Souls 3 challenge, Midir. Midir, the Dark Eater, lore-wise, works challenge. He is basically the toughest. Bro, before Elden dropped, he was on the throne of the ultimate From Software challenge before Elden. But once Elden dropped, that changed. He's a fucking incredible dragon in terms of design, everything, bro. And I believe like even in a situation of like 3 against 1, he will still wreck people, bro. Because it's enough that he already has a big buff health bar, but his attacks like cover up long range. His fire breath is incredible. His tail attack does half damage. He's basically a tough son of a bitch. And having him again would be truly incredible, and to fight him again with 3 other people will be a kind of really joy in an epic boss fight. So I believe like there's a high chance that we might see Midir again. I think we will. Now, here's my controversial take, but I don't think we'll ever see Slave Knight Gale return on Elden Nightreign. And I really hate to say this, but there's a lot of people that want to see Slave Knight Gale again. A lot. I see a lot of people because I also consider him as like one of my favorite bosses. I love his arena. I love his design, his music, everything about the boss. I love it. But when you think about it mechanically wise, does Slave Knight Gale give a challenge to 3 people? Honestly, bro, Slave Knight Gale didn't give me a challenge even 1-on-1. I beat him in my second try. That guy is easy, honestly. So I don't think they can bring him back. But in mad respect, his boss fight on its own is fucking legendary. One of the best boss fights. But mechanically, 1 against 3, like Gale against 3 people, bro, I don't think it's gonna work. It'll be a fucking pushover, trust me. But the reason why I say that we might see him again, because he has one thing that not a lot of other bosses have, and his arena. If you guys focused on the trailer or some of the like screenshots that you showed, the Night Lord bosses, their arenas are very, very big, or in basically like a sand area or something like that. And Slave Knight Gale has a similar arena to what these bosses have. It will work very well as a Night Lord. But is he gonna give a challenge? No, it's gonna be very easy. So those are the bosses that I believe we might see back in Elden Nightreign because they work. One of them is probably not gonna see because he's an imaginary idea from me. Now, this is gonna be a lot controversial. And I left these 2 games last because there is a high possibility that we may not see any of the bosses returning. So I'm gonna start off Bloodborne. Do I think that we're gonna be seeing a Bloodborne boss in Elden Nightreign? Well, we've got Sony to thank for that. If they haven't offered us a fucking 16 FPS patch, do you think they're going to allow any of the bosses to return in an Elden Nightreign game? No, there is a chance after the Karakawa whatever debacle happened there, and now Sony has like the highest earnings or whatever from the owners of From Software and stuff. I don't understand what the shit's going on in the gaming industry anymore, but there is a possibility, and if we see, and bro, believe me when I say this, if we see a boss from Bloodborne and Elden Nightreign, that basically confirms like a Bloodborne remake or a remaster or whatever is coming some year. just gotta have some hope. But anyway, that's a different discussion if it ever happens. To continue on, now, if it happens, what are the bosses or boss do you think is going to come from Bloodborne? Okay, don't take it out of context. From Bloodborne, we might see in Elden Nightreign. And honestly, this is probably gonna piss off some people. I'm sorry, but I am a man of my word when I say this. But most to all, except one or two, bosses in Bloodborne are a complete utter joke. Very easy. I didn't have any hard time with Bloodborne. It's a completely easy game. Trust me when I say this. Maybe I'm getting a little cocky here, but just in my opinion alone, I found Bloodborne very easy. But you're not here for that. You're here to hear from me the bosses that you think mechanically work. And the only one that I found working mechanically can fit Elden Nightreign is, of course, the only difficult boss in Bloodborne. It's not Kaz, by the way, it's Ludwig. Ludwig works so well in Elden Nightreign as the boss himself. He's very, I believe like he's one of the hardest bosses in Bloodborne, and of course I had a very hard time with him. His moveset is absolutely crazy. Before, of course, he picks up the Moonlight Sword. And think about it this way, the only way to obtain the Moonlight Greatsword in Elden Nightreign is to defeat him. If you get lucky and you fight, let's say Ludwig again, when you defeat him, you get the Moonlight Greatsword, and you can use him on your next run, you know, as something that you unlocked and you can keep forever, something like that. So yeah, mechanically, I believe he works. He is very, very hard. He moves fast. His attacks do a lot of damage. And I believe like on his second phase, if they can retouch it a little bit, it can be very, very challenging. Give him like some faster sword slashes, give him some long range attacks, you know. It'll be very, very difficult, and it will be absolutely beautiful. And it can fit, so it's probably gonna be a lot similar to Manus, Father of the Abyss. It could fit so well, but I believe Ludwig doesn't work as a Night Lord. He works like, let's say, a second night boss or a first night boss, you know, as a surprise ultimate challenge. Because I believe like it's going to have like a randomizer system. At night 1 or night 2, you can expect to have an easy boss, or you can get surprised and have a difficult challenging boss that's going to absolutely wreck you, and you're gonna have to restart again. So that is something that I believe we're gonna see in Elden Nightreign. Other bosses from Bloodborne, the only ones that I think they work are like the 3 shadowy figures that you face them like before the Ram, I don't know, whatever the fuck he is. Those guys work because it's 3 against 3, so that's actually really good. But man, they're fucking easy, so I don't think they give any player a challenge. They can work as a like night 1, night 2, or like some sort of secret boss, something like that. So other bosses, Kaz is just a complete utter joke in my opinion. He's very easy, his moveset's easy to read, and just keep your distance and find your opportunity, just move in and just lash out on him. And if you have like a mage player, he's fucking wrecked, believe me. So I don't think we'll probably see Kaz. The only one that I see mechanically working is Ludwig. And if I'm wrong here, I would love to read your comments and thoughts on the other bosses that you think mechanically work and we'll probably see in Elden Nightreign. Now moving on to Sekiro. Now Sekiro, there's a lot of bosses that I want to see again, bro. I want to see Ishin again. This Sword Saint, I want to see him again, bro. I want to fight him in a style of like Elden Ring to see like the kind of difference they have. He'll be a very, very difficult challenge because of how fast he is, and compared to the player, probably not gonna be as fast as Ishin. Do I think he's gonna return? Hardly, but does he work mechanically? I think so, because I believe like Ishin has the 3 beautiful combinations. He has like close-up attacks, mid-range attacks, and of course long-range attacks. I wouldn't be surprised if like two guys are going into Ishin and one mage player is just blast him with some magic tricks. Ishin will do you like step back, pull up the gun, and kill that bastard, bro. It'll be so fucking hilarious because we all know Ishin loves that Glock. Anyway, does he work mechanically? I think he does. And as a challenge, Ishin is a fucking monster, bro. He'll be a very challenge for a lot of players, and I think like he's gonna work. The best strategy against him is just to have a shield with you or parry. But as someone who's like goes in without a shield, your rolls have to be absolutely perfect because Ishin's attacks are going to be fast, and you have to see them. Similar to which boss that attacks fast? Most of the Elden bosses don't attack. Oh, I believe. Oh yes, a little bit similar to the Nameless King. Nameless King has some fast attacks. The only difficult with the Nameless King is the time to roll becomes very challenging. So when it comes to fighting Ishin without a shield, the timing of rolling has to be absolutely perfect, and the best roll is to roll backwards. That way you can keep some distance. Other bosses, there is another one that works from Sekiro, the Demon of Hatred. Ooh, that guy fits so well in Elden Nightreign. Of course, he has some long range attacks, close range attacks, mid range attacks. He has them all, and of course, he can also shoot fire when he starts dancing, whatever. So that's gonna be fucking hilarious. And yeah, I think there is a high chance, if it happens, we might see the Demon of Hatred, because the way the run works in Elden Nightreign is very similar to Sekiro. And just imagine it right now, like if he starts using like his fireball throw, dance or whatever. I'm really imagining how three guys are just running left or right trying to dodge his fires and stuff. So I believe maybe I'm not putting a lot of thought into it, but thinking about it, Demon of Hatred can work as like a boss when 3 against 1. Of course, he has to have like a very buff health, and he works as a Night Lord boss. Now, that's not all. You're probably wondering what about Demon Souls. I haven't played Demon Souls yet, so I can't mention it. But if you have like an idea, if you're someone who played Demon Souls, and if you have an ideas on the bosses that you think we might be seeing back in Elden Nightreign, please write them out in the comments. And again, focus mechanically, not love. There's a lot of bosses we all love, but do you think these bosses work mechanically? Please write in the comments. Before we reach the ending, there's one thing that I want to mention. This is from a perspective of love, of course. In Bloodborne, the bosses that I expect to see was simply Ludwig. I believe he is the perfect and most fitting boss to see again at Elden Nightreign, and he's going to be the challenge to obtain the Moonlight Greatsword. I mean, bro, the Moonlight Greatsword's literally in every single fucking game except Sekiro, and to have that sword in Sekiro, that'll be fucking crazy. I believe it'll be an incredible way to obtain it by defeating Ludwig, since he's like the owner of that blade, and Bloodborne will be like a very unique way to get it, instead of just finding it or finding a knight who uses and beat the crap out of it, or a quest. Okay. Before I continue, bosses from Sekiro. I really want to see Ishin, the Sword Saint. I think he works in Elden Nightreign. And there's also Demon of Hatred. He, of course, also works very well. And I think if it happens, again, like Sekiro and Bloodborne are not made by Bandai Namco, so it's gonna be difficult to see any of the other bosses returning from those games. But I hope they pick like a 1 or 2. I really do. So Sony, make a fucking move. Anyway. Now, before I end this video off and leave you guys in the comments to have a discussion with you guys, if you made it this far, I'm really grateful. This is literally a video out of left field that I did because I really wanted to put this one out, and I really want to hear your thoughts and what you're thinking about the bosses that you think. Again, there's a lot of bosses that we love, We want to see them return, but you have to think from a perspective of mechanically. Do these bosses give 3 players a challenge? Do they give you and your homies a challenge? Think about it like that. Now, before I close off this very long video, how long is it? Fuck, 15 minutes? Damn, if anybody made it this far, you are one hell of a player. Anyway, I want to talk about Elden because we all know that in Elden Nightreign, we're gonna be seeing a lot of Elden bosses. But please, if we're gonna bring Elden bosses, do not let me fight the God Skin or the Tree Sentinel or the Dragonic Tree Sentinel again. I am tired of those fucking idiots, bro. I want to fight the legends. I want to fight fucking Margit again, which is, we're probably going to do that. And I hope Margit in full power. I want to fight Mog again. I want to fight Mesmer again, bro. I want to fight Renala again. Melania, I want to fight those guys again, bro. Not these pathetic ass bitches. Godskin duo, or then I want to fight Malekith again. I want to fight Godfrey again, bro, with my kung fu moves, or if they have that build. So I want to fight those legendary bosses, not the pathetic ones in the caves or whatever. No, I do feel that we're probably gonna fight the Godskins again, but at the very least, if we're gonna fight those guys again, be a little more creative. Do some combinations. Like, what if we fight the Godskin and a Crucible Knight? Now that is a different combination. What if we have a 3-on-3, 3 Crucible Knights versus 3 guys? You know, trio versus trio. That will be fucking insanely good. I wanna see some creative plays from the bosses that we already fought from Elden. I don't want to see you 3 people against 3 Sentinel. Get that shit out of here, bro. I want to see the big boys or some creative moves, some creative combinations. That way it'll be a little more difficult and challenging, you know? That's what I want to see from Elden and Elden Nightreign. Some beautiful combinations, or just bring the legends back. Not Radahn, please. I don't want to fight that guy again. I don't want to fight that guy again. No, enough of that. No, please. Please, I hope we don't fight Radahn. Prime Radahn with this time around Mekhala and Marika and his fucking back. No, enough. Please, enough. I'm done with that. I beat him twice and I almost lost my fucking arm, bro. I was so excited I broke my arm. That's a story for another time. One last thing. This is the one and only last chance to see Godwyn the Golden. Bro, come on, man. This is the only chance we have left, bros. This is it. This is the game that we're gonna get to see Godwyn the Golden and fight him. Is it a possibility? Yes. Is it gonna happen? Bro, I don't fucking know. If we didn't have him in DLC, I don't know if they're going to have him in Elden Nightreign. But if we do get to see Godwyn the Golden and fight him, I want him to be considered not as a Night Lord, but as an optional secret boss. Think about it this way. The only way to fight Godwyn the Golden, you have to defeat 3 specific Night Lords, like you reach him in the 3rd night, to give you like some sort of like a key. Once you get this key, you go back and like the 1st night, you and your friends or whatever, or perhaps in the 3rd night, and you go to a specific area where you have to give this key to unlock this door, and then you reach Godwyn the Golden, a secret optional boss who's like the ultimate challenge, you know, which is Godwyn the Golden. If they do it like that, it will be so beautiful. First, because there's replay value. You and your friends are just going to go back and back and back until you obtain this key, and you just want to see him, and you just want to fight him. You experience this ultimate deity, you know. Oh, I've been talking for so long. My body. Whew. Sorry about that. So yeah, this is the last chance to get Godwyn the Golden. Is it gonna happen? I don't know, bro. I don't know. But if it does, I hope they be creative with it. And is it gonna be difficult, more challenging than Radahn? I hope so. I want something. I just want them to keep surprising us, bro. They keep surprising us with each game or each DLC. I really hope they do again with this one. Now, do I think Elden Nightreign is gonna be bad? Fuck no, bro. It's gonna be great. Don't think about it because it's Fortnite. Just think about it as the other From Software game, and this one you just get to play with your friends, get to try out something new. And if you're a lone wolf, a lone sane warrior who just goes out by himself, if you're a depressed man who plays alone, sorry about that by the way, you're gonna always play it on yourself. But I believe like their main focus here is for seamless co-op, so that way they're probably gonna implement it in their next games. Because this is something the From Software team have considered for a long time, and they're using Elden Nightreign to test out the seamless co-op option when what people think about it. And if a lot of people are going to enjoy it, believe me when I say that we're gonna be seeing seamless co-op in the next From Software games. Well, I've been talking for almost an hour. If you made it this far and you've like heard me, this sounded more like a podcast episode, a solo pod, you know? Yeah. If you made it this far, I want to say, brother, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this me babbling for no reason, just sharing what was in my mind. I really, truly hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, and I really want to hear from you. What are the bosses that you think we're going to be seeing from each game, including Demon Souls? You probably played it, I haven't. And again, think mechanically. Do not think, I love this guy, I want to see him again. Think mechanically. There's a lot of bosses we all love, a lot of bosses we want to see, but not many of them are going to return. So, that's all from me. I gotta go and play some Elden, I guess. Or Dark Souls, have some experience, prepare myself for Nightreign, which is probably gonna take a while. And of course I want to say to the people who are gonna play the game on the test play or whatever on February, good luck with that. Don't spoil it to a lot of people. Enjoy yourselves and give us your thoughts. Again, thank you, and I wish you all a wonderful day and a wonderful new year 2025. Thanks and goodbye.